What is going on, everybody? The original Mako back, and it is time for our first tier list since the DLC for Gunfire Reborn. But before we get into it, be sure you check the links down below as always. As you can see on screen right now, we've got a list of our YouTube members right here, and the link to join is down below. There are 4 different tiers with 4 different, well, a few different unique fun perks. And it really helps the channel out a lot, and I can't thank our members enough. I really do appreciate it. If you've been enjoying the content and want to help support a little bit extra, then feel free to check that out. Also, the Twitch link is down below as well. If you want to see me do some runs live on Twitch, we have a ton of fun over there. There's a bunch of really cool people to talk to, and I'd really appreciate that as well. So check that stuff out. But that being said, let's go ahead and get into the tier list for today. Now, we are starting with the most basic tier list, which is just the 7 characters. Barely enough characters to even make a tier list, but I feel like it's worth it. We'll get into weapons, scrolls, and maybe even remnants as well. And those videos are going to be long, just burner videos that are just going to be a long time, long running videos. So I figured we'd start off with an easy one and kind of ease our way into it with the character tier list here. So let's go ahead and get this party started, shall we? First up, we've got this is the bird. Okay, I know it's a weird picture, but you can see the bird here on the side. The bird. So I remember when the bird first came out. I know, just back in my day moment. It was kind of cool. Didn't really have a bunch of great damage output, which is kind of disappointing because it was the 3rd character. And after the cat and the dog, everybody wanted something super exciting. And the bird was just kind of lackluster with damage and what have you. But then they started coming out with more, reincarnation and nightmare mode and all these other increased difficulties where the bird really shined and showed his worth. I'm going to be putting the bird in A because armor is way better than shield. You can get your armor back on command. You don't have to wait for it to restore. It comes back instantly, assuming you're hitting your leap ability. Reason number 2, your leap, speak of the devil, has iframes. You are invincible while you are leaping, which is phenomenal. It's so useful for defense, and I can't stress enough if you're struggling with, nightmare difficulty, and then maybe you're struggling with higher reincarnation tiers. I seriously recommend trying to just get through it on this character. A lot of the other characters are much more broken offensively, but you will be hard-pressed to find a character that is more broken defensively than this one, because as soon as you get used to using your iframes and as soon as you get used to having that leap ready to get your armor back immediately, you're in a great place. And there are a couple of ascensions he has that can help him with his damage. And if you're on reincarnation, he has a couple of remnants that can help with his damage as well. So it's not like he's completely lost with damage. He just excels when it comes to defense, but he excels at an absolute just top tier defensively. So that's why I'm going to put him into A. Next up, we have our good friend, the Bunny. Bunny's S tier. Okay. Here's why. I shouldn't need to go into too much detail, I don't think. But the Bunny has her Q ability and her E ability that you can build around. Both builds are insanely good. Both builds you can get insanely broken with. And there are very few characters that are that good with both of their abilities. Not to mention that, she has really good built-in movement speed buffs. She has pretty decent debuffs for enemies. And unreal damage output. I don't know. There's not anything negative, really, about this character. Besides the fact that, to start, if you just unlocked her and you don't have any of her skill tree stuff unlocked, then she can be a little bit squishy. Just a little bit, though, because after that, once you have that unlocked, you have a perk where you start getting your shield back immediately after killing something, and you're going to be killing things a lot on this character, believe me. Good movement speed. There's not much to really gripe about with the Bunny. She's fantastic, an amazing character. All of her builds are amazing. So S tier for the Bunny. Next up, we have the cat. This is an interesting one. I actually have to think about this one for just a second. So here's where I'm putting the cat. I'm putting the cat at A tier. potentially was thinking about S tier, but I can't put the cat in S tier for one simple reason. The cat is slow as hell. I mean, just downright painfully slow. And I have mentioned so many times how important movement speed is at higher difficulties in this game, being able to move around at a high clip, and the cat just can't do it. It just can't keep up. So I got to keep the cat in A tier. I can't move him into S. However, overall, if it wasn't for the movement speed, the cat would probably be the best character in the game, and here's why. Elemental synergies are the most broken thing in Gunfire Reborn. The cat has the ability to buff every single elemental synergy and has built-in corrosive damage for those synergies. So if you get a fire weapon, a lightning weapon, you get the elemental share Gemini, and you have a corrosive grenade, you have all three elements just at your fingertips, ready to go. Okay? So the cat is just, once again, being able to enhance the already most broken thing in the game is ridiculous. Not to mention with your hex smoke grenades, or with your grenades, you have hex smoke, which is a, lowers the amount of damage enemies do while increasing the damage you do to them. And I've said this all the time before as well. Anything that can lower enemies' damage output is really, really good, and the cat's grenades are an extremely good way of doing that. So the cat has all of the potential in the world to be the best character in the game, but the movement speed is so important, and since the cat is the slowest, I have to put the cat in A. Definitely S tier potential. If you get a movement speed scroll, you get abnormal speed, maybe even ostrich rider if that's your thing, then immediate S tier for this character. But because of the base movement speed, I have to keep the cat in A. Next up, we have the dog. Now, I am going to try to be as objective as possible here, so I'm going to be objective. Objectively, I think the dog is in B tier. I think the dog is a little bit worse. Sue me, I think the bird is a little bit better, especially at higher difficulties. And here's why. So early game, normal mode, hard mode, anything before like high reincarnation, you can absolutely get away with, like, the dog is definitely better than the bird. But it changes at higher difficulties because the dog has a glaring issue, which is he has 55 shield. So he has a good chunk of health, but because his shield is so low, his shield gets broken in one shot, and then if you get hit again, you start losing health, which doesn't come back naturally. You have to get that back through buns or other means. Now, he does have some built-in health regeneration, which is nice. But having that low of a shield on that high of a difficulty when enemies are doing so much damage is not good. He has no built-in damage reduction, like can't make enemies do less damage. But he still is in B tier for a couple, and could push A for a couple of reasons. Reason one, he has Atomic Bomb, which is maybe, or at least was, and still is, one of the best remnants in the game, and there's no other character can use it. It's exclusive to him, so that is part of the reason why he's very good. Two, dual wielding. Being able to dual wield allows you to get elemental synergies, which we just talked about, that are insane, as well as having built-in lifesteal when you're dual wielding, not to mention just the increased damage output of using two guns at once is really, really good. But I can't move him up higher, objectively speaking, because he's too squishy at higher difficulties, and his damage is good, but doesn't make up for it unless you're using Atomic Bomb, or you get really, really good explosive synergies, which is possible, and I've done it. I love explosive builds. It's my favorite build in the game, is the dog with like dual-wield mortars, dual-wield tiger cannons, whatever it is. But objectively speaking, I think he is a B tier character. Next up, we have our first of the new characters, the monkey. And once again, we are going to be objectively speaking here. And I think objectively, objectively, I'm going to put him in B, right behind the dog. once again, this is if we're talking personal opinion, I love the monkey, and he's still really good. I want this to be clear that B tier is still good characters, right? I mean, C is average, so anything above that is above average. So I think all these characters are very good. So the monkey is really cool. His Q ability allows you to increase your own weapon level, and you can get some crazy high weapon levels with this character. His E gets special bonuses based off of what type of weapon you're using. I think in terms of difficulty, him and the bird are probably the highest skill ceiling characters to use, along with the tiger as well. So he's a harder character to play and learn and understand and use correctly, which is why I think he's going to be a little bit lower on the tier list objectively. But he still has really good builds. He still has really good damage output. I think in terms of like total DPS, he probably has less potential than every character except the bird. I mean, if you get really lucky on some of your upgrades and you get really lucky with some of your scrolls, then your Q can pop off and do some wild shit with your weapon levels. But his damage output doesn't quite compare to what I think you can do on the cat with elemental synergies, the dog with dual wield explosions, the bunny with Blossom Enthusiast, the fox with her E ability, and the tiger with his enhanced damage. It just doesn't compare to those. It's better than the bird for sure, but he also doesn't have the same defensive capabilities as the bird. So I think that's why I'm putting him a little bit lower. Once again, love the character. I think he's great. He is a little bit more difficult to play and doesn't quite have the same damage output, but he's really, really cool and has a lot of intricate tech to his kit, which I think is really fun, and I hope they do more of super unique things like that in the future. Going to the next character, which is the exact opposite of unique. It's just boom, explode, run through enemies, fire fox, boom, explode, run, unga boonga stomp, is the fox. She's S tier. The damage potential on the E and Q abilities, once again, similar to the bunny, both of the fox's abilities have crazy good builds. The E and the Q are insane if you build into them. The E especially would absolutely be the best character in the game, objectively speaking, if it wasn't for the fact that she is a little bit slow. Not as slow as the cat, but a little bit slow. And very squishy. I think she's slightly tankier than Lei Luo, the tiger, but not by much. On high difficulties, you will get hit hard. I mean, it could be as simple as 2 shots hit you in a row and you're dead. Now, that being said, most enemies will not have time to get 2 shots off if you're just spamming her abilities because of how good they are. But I can't put her above the bunny because she's just a little bit slow and not quite as tanky as the bunny is. That being said, if you build into this character's E or Q, it's very hard to build this character wrong, which is why another reason to have a character in S tier, same as the bunny, is there are so many things you can do right that even if you're not trying to synergize, your build will inevitably synergize and work super well. So because of that, once again, that's why these are in S tier. And I think it kind of works out really well. I mean, the bird, you have to build very correctly. The monkey, you have to build pretty correct. The cat, I mean, as long as you know your elemental, the gun, what elemental, category your weapon is in, you're kind of fine. The dog's a little bit more intricate as well. But these 2 characters, I mean, you could build anything and you're probably still going to be able to stomp the run. So that's why they are in S tier, because they are just super, super good. So there we have it. Those 2 are in S. And now we get to the tiger, Lei Luo. I actually really have to think about this one because I'm being objective with all of these characters. And I'm trying not to be biased. Because once again, if my bias was involved, this would look very different. If bias was involved, I'd have the monkey ahead of the fox, just because I like the monkey more. But I think, and I'm objectively going to talk about this. Oh, fuck. I don't know if I can do that. I'm going to do it, though. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put the tiger into C tier. And I know that there are people just typing up a storm right now telling me how stupid I am, how wrong I am, and just shredding, just saying, nah, I'm sick of it. What kind of garbage tier list is this? I'm out of here. Listen, the damage potential is great. One of the highest DPS potentials in the game. Okay, a fast character. You know, it's you're gonna be getting around the map. You're gonna be scooting quick. Lightning built in to the you got, you know, elemental damage built in. Here's the problem I have with Lei Luo. This character is the squishiest character in the entirety of the game. So even if your build is just bussin' and you are eliminating enemies just left, right, on a Reincarnation 8, once you get to stage 3, stage 4, even in the desert, you are at risk of dying like that. In an instant, you can be dead. And I know you're like the fox. Well, the fox. Yes, the fox is very squishy as well, but 99% of the time, well, I shouldn't say that. It's like 90% of the time, you're not going to get one shot on the fox. You're not going to take enough damage to get one shot. On Lei Luo, it is more likely to happen. It's one slip up and the run is, or at least maybe not the run is over, but you lose a res. And then it happens again and the run is over. Lei Luo is so squishy. I don't like his builds. I don't think his builds are super fun. I just am not a big fan of this character, and I don't think this character is... I would rather play every other character on here, and I'd be more confident winning runs with every other character on here as opposed to Lei Luo. That's just me. That's my personal thoughts. That's my opinion on it. I understand that a lot of people love this character. I do. I get it. And a lot of people would have him in A or S. I know. But for me, I just can't do it. I can't do it. I cannot put him higher than C. I can't put him higher than any of these other characters. And I don't think he's remotely close to being on the same tier as the dog and the monkey. Not to mention, along with this squishiness, he is hard to build. So, like to build correctly, I think. So, he's difficult and squishy and frustrating to play as. So, I'm putting him in C tier. Sue me. Let me know in the comments how much you love him. I get it. I know. But that's it for our character tier list. I think all the characters are viable. I think all the characters in their own right are great, except for the tiger. So, I really, there's nothing too spicy in this tier list. We have one hot take. But yeah, I think this was a good way to ease into the tier lists for the post DLC stuff. Like I said, we'll have weapons, scrolls, maybe blessings, maybe something else as well. But weapons are definitely coming soon. It's just a very, very, I need a long time to record that video because there's a lot of weapons. And even though I talk about each one for 1 minute, it's still like an hour-long video, and I talk about them for more than a minute, so yeah. But anyways, thank you guys so much for the support. As always, like I said, be sure you check those links down below. I really do appreciate all the support. It means a lot. Hopefully you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I love each and every one of your faces, and I will catch you all in the next video.